All right, welcome to ZIPS Nation Insider. My name is Jacob Farrar. A little bit different look for the episode this week. I'm on the road, and so we're changing it up. But we still have Grant Bogdan. Grant, welcome back. ZIPS Nation Insider. It's powered by Sarah Auto Park and Bryant Heating and Cooling. So, Grant, what's going on in the world of ZIPS athletics for this past week, and then looking forward to kind of this weekend?
Yeah, well, kicking things off with Zip Soccer, they obviously had a huge win this past week. They traveled to DePaul to take them on. They actually ended up winning that game 4-0, so a big win there for them. Zips actually outshot the Blue Demons 17-2, believe it or not. It was Mitch Budler's fifth shutout of the season. Malik Henry ended up getting his second career goal. And then Emil Jaskalainen, two goals as well, making it his third consecutive multi-goal game. And there were a lot of accolades handed out to Zips players on that team this week, or this past week, with Emil being the offensive player of the week, Ashton Camden being the defensive player, and then Victor Gullman got selected to be on the Big East honor roll last week as well. So they're doing great over there. They're staying hot, now have a record of 8-3-3 as they host Creighton tomorrow at 7 p.m. for the last home game of the season.
Yeah, I was looking at Emil's his goal total for last year at Long Island. He had 12 the entire season. Now with 3 games left, he's at 16. So, so,
16. Yep.
so I mean, are we going for 20? I mean, like
I
let's
think
go
so.
20. Like,
Let's get
why not? Right?
let's get to this Big East tournament, and I think we
His
could.
yeah, his trajectory. I mean, definitely it's something new. But I'll tell you what, though, the last 3 games are not going to be a cakewalk. They got some
No,
teams that could put up a fight, including Creighton, who's coming off of a 3-game win streak. So definitely, we have our challenge up for these last 3 matches.
cool. And then moving over to women's volleyball, they've actually dropped the last couple games, but they've had some players step up despite the losses. Emanuela Christodoulou had 21 kills in a game versus
Melina, that's our
Toledo.
girl Melina.
Yep,
Melina
yep,
is since our podcast. I mean, she's had career nights, a couple of matches where she's more than 20 or more kills. So I don't know what it is about our podcast, but I guess people tend to shine. I guess. I mean, is
gave
that
her some good luck, I guess, but we'll take it. And then Delaney Gash also had 11 kills in our game against Bowling Green. They will travel to face Buffalo today before returning home on Thursday to face Western Michigan.
Yeah, I mean they're right in the middle of things within the MAC conference. I mean, I don't know exactly how many teams. I think all teams make it into the into the tournament. So definitely the Zips are looking good to at least make it into the MAC tournament, and then probably do pretty well. Maybe get past the first round. We'll see what happens with that.
Awesome. Then moving along to women's soccer, the skid continues for them. They lost to Western Michigan 2-0. Goalkeeper Sarah Bauer had 16 saves and now have a record of 5-6-4. But they have a big opportunity to turn things around as they got the wagon wheel this week against Kent State on Thursday. So big opportunity there to get a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Zips Athletics, when there's bad seasons, there's always getting up for anytime they play against Kent. So that wagon wheel soccer, definitely something that I think the players are going to be up for and try to salvage some of this season with a win against Kent.
Definitely looking forward to that. Then to wrap things out, we can recap Zips football this past week, obviously coming off the bye. So no action to report there. Before the bye, they came off that whirlwind game against Western, where Ben Finley threw for 400 yards. So going into this upcoming week, we have Eastern Michigan here at home at Infocision Stadium, 3:30 p.m. kickoff. Looking for Ben Finley and Adrian Norton to stay hot and hopefully get the Zips their first MAC win of the year.
So I mean, it's not going to be again similar to what we're talking about with soccer. Not a cakewalk. Eastern Michigan is second place in the MAC. One of their top receivers is actually a former Zip, Orrin Singleton, and then Cole Snyder was their quarterback. Was coming off of an offensive player of the week. But looking just really quick at stats, Cole Snyder and Ben Finley not that different. So I think we should have a pretty good matchup. They're pretty close, pretty much neck and neck. I think one of the big differences is turnovers for Ben Finley. Have a few more, but from an offensive, passing, definitely Ben's in line with what's going on over with Cole. So we should see an interesting game at home this Saturday. Speaking of, you mentioned Mitch Budler had a shutout Speaking of Mitch, he is our guest in the Learfield Suite, which is courtesy of Tire Source, the official sponsor of the Turnover Tire. So actually our Chad Welker caught up with the Redshirt Junior and the starting goalkeeper for your top 25 ranked ZIPS soccer team.
Thanks, Jacob. And actually from the Learfield Suite, we're moved over to First Energy Stadium and the pitch because I have the junior goalkeeper from Lincoln, Nebraska here with me, Mitch Budler. And Mitch, thanks for joining us on ZIPS Nation Insider. Tell us a little about your day so far.
It's been good. I just got done with my last class for the day, Advanced Portfolio Management. I had to take some caffeine because I was getting a little sleepy towards the end, but no, it's been good. Just trying to get everything figured out, talk to my teachers, make sure I'm good to go for tomorrow and the classes that I'm going to miss.
We'll get into a little bit of tomorrow with the game against Creighton. But first, let's kind of rewind and let's start off by talking a little bit about how you first got involved with the game of soccer. Where are you actually from? We say Lincoln, Nebraska on our roster. You went to Shattuck-St. Mary's Academy, to YSC Academy, to playing for Philadelphia Union. How did you kind of get to Akron? Kind of take us from the beginning.
Pretty long story. So I started playing soccer when I was around, I want to say like 3 or 4 years old. But I wasn't a goalkeeper at the time, all the way up until I was, I want to say like 12 years old. I was playing like striker, center mid, center back, kind of everywhere. And then after that, I was playing for a club in Lincoln, and then a bunch of us ended up trying out for Sporting Kansas City's pre-academy, like the U12s. And I tried out as a field player and a goalkeeper, and they said they wanted me as a goalkeeper, along with a few of the other guys that also trialed. And so I said, yeah. So I made the switch from from field player to goalkeeper when I was 12, and along with a bunch of other guys. And so we started playing for Sporting Kansas City. And that was kind of dreadful though, because we had to drive like 6 hours a day just to get there, or not to get there, but there and back, 6 hours total. And we would do that like 3 to 4 times out of the week. So we would have, sometimes it would be my mom, it would be another kid's parents, just taking turns like carpooling back and forth. And then, so at that time, my older brother was playing for RSL, which was an MLS academy in Arizona. They relocated though. But at the time it was a little toxic and my brother didn't like it there. And then at Sporting Kansas City, I didn't like the environment there. It was just getting a little weird. And so my parents were like, okay, where do we get these guys together so it makes it a lot more, convenient for us to, just like take care of them and all that. And so we found a school, Shattuck-St. Mary's in Minnesota, and really good soccer academy, and also a very good hockey team. And so we relocated up there, me and my brother and my mom, while my dad stayed in Nebraska with my sister. And I had a couple really good years at Shattuck, developed like my first year, and then had one really solid year, our U17s year. And after that, I had a few MLS academies like saying, hey, would you want to make a switch, come over to an MLS academy and see if you can kind of take that pathway to sign a professional contract. And as a kid, you're like thinking, okay, yeah, that sounds like amazing. And so visited Philadelphia Union, one of the clubs that were interested, and they kind of sold it perfectly. So I was like, okay, fine. So I ended up going to Philadelphia Union my last 2 years of high school, but I was going there off of back injury, unfortunately, and then COVID hit, and so I didn't really, like the way things turned out there, but it was kind of late to the recruiting process too for college, and so Jer, goalkeeper and assistant coach here, just reached out, was like, do you want to come play for us? I was like, yeah, sure.
Well, we're glad you're here, of course, and really ever since you started playing for the ZIPS, you really haven't left in between the pipes, so congrats on that. So a little bit here with Mitch Budler here, despite kind of a shaky first part of the season. Team has completely turned the page. What has it been from the team perspective, from the likes of the game of Temple and IU Indy to that first Big East game against Butler?
I would say it's a lot different from last year in the aspects that last year we kind of had everybody's roles figured out quickly at the start, and so I'm pretty sure we had a really good start last year. But I think it's kind of a different case with the group now. We have like all the talent and all the players we need, but I think it was just a matter of, okay, who's going to do this, who's going to do that, just figuring out ultimately just everybody's role. And this season it took a little bit of time, but with the talent we have now compared to last year, I think it's a little higher. And so, once we figure out that role, like I think we have been, fortunately, I think we're starting to go on, sort of a winning run.
Yeah, and of course you had a couple big matchups early in the season, the non-conference games, which actually has now teams that are in the top 25. You guys are now in the top 25, both in the top drawer and the United Coaches poll. But can you just describe what it's like preparing for games against teams with like those high ranks, including the likes of a Georgetown game, which in DC you were just on fire in between the pipes, making multiple saves and keeping Akron ahead after you got the first goal.
Yeah, I think what's helped me personally is thinking that we're basically, it was after those couple bad performances versus IU Indy, the Temple, having the mentality that we're kind of the underdog now. Like we have to keep performing well if we want to have a successful season. So I think approaching every game now that if we don't do well, our season could possibly end. So I think having the team all kind of on the same page, like, hey, we need to keep winning, or else.
And not only that, you're one of the kind of the last guys that was part of the MAC that was able to kind of transition to the Big East. Talk a little bit about that transition and what does it say about Akron soccer that we're in the Big East?
Right. Yeah, it was my last year in the MAC was really interesting, having only 5 teams and then playing them twice throughout the year, and then Western Michigan 3 times on the year was, kind of insane. Like, it was not very much fun, but the switch has been a lot better, I think, as far as like playing style wise against other teams. It's it's a lot smoother, it's more predictable, but I think the facilities are a little bit better as well, like for the Big East. We still have a couple other games that we haven't gone to, like UConn. I'm really excited for that. But I think it just shows, Akron can kind of compete like anywhere. We did well in the MAC, and hopefully we can have a really successful year in the Big East.
Now we're going to take you back to kind of your playing days with the national team. You played as a U14 and as a U16. What are some of the key takeaways that you had from those experiences that have kind of guided you into college soccer?
Yeah. So I was pretty, fortunate when I was like 14, 16 to have like a call up for my age group, like in a camp. And so in those camps, it was basically just a bunch of kids my age from around the country, just like representing the U.S. just for like trainings and stuff. But it was like really fascinating. Like I saw all the talent. Some guys are now, playing professionally in MLS. Some are playing overseas, and some are in college. But it's really been a blessing, just to see all the players and all the different kinds of abilities they have.
Who are some of those guys that are now playing professionally and kind of where you want to get to, obviously, and then playing for the national team right now?
I would say one guy I've been following a bit, and I lived with him a little bit in Philadelphia Union, but he's consistently been with the U.S. is Jack McGlynn. He's a center mid, and he's been really solid. He's one of the most consistent players that I've ever been been able to play with or and watch, as well as Paxton Aronson, Quinn Sullivan. All those guys are now getting consistent and getting call-ups to the national level.
Now we're going to jump into a little bit of the education side, majoring in business data analytics. And I know you kind of got a little sleepy today, but it has its own sets of challenges. But how do you manage the balance between your academic pursuits and the demands of being a student athlete?
Yeah, it's been pretty difficult. I'm not going to lie, this semester. Applied econometrics 2 is kind of kicking my butt. But I think it's just communicating with the teachers. I'm taking economic forecasting right now, and my professor's he's amazing. Like, probably one of the best professors, if not the best professor I've had in college. He's been just super down to earth, understanding, and always there if I need help. But all the classes they're difficult now. Like, once you get older, now that I'm a junior, it's getting more specific to your major, and so I think the classes are a little harder. But so good. Like, it's pretty good so far, I think.
And what is your professor forecasting economically right now?
So,
if he says anything about that right at this time.
What's he doing now?
Well, what is he forecast like right now?
So
with everything going on in the world right now.
Right. So it's honestly just any type of data, economically. But he himself has a really impressive resume. Like, he worked for the government, like their economic team at one point, which is really fascinating. But I'm not sure. I want to say he's just a professor now. I haven't talked to him on a personal level yet.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to get into kind of the fact that being a junior, being a part of Jair's goalkeeping regime, I guess, you were the youth goalkeeper here, but you got a lot of playing time. Now you're kind of mentoring kind of the young guys and showing them the ZIPS way. So take us through kind of things that you are teaching them for when it is your time to say goodbye to the University of Akron.
Yeah, I think coming in, since I did redshirt, I had a lot of, all my practices were just super detailed on what Will Meyer was doing, which was the starting goalkeeper at the time. What are the other keepers doing? What should I be doing? And so I kind of just accepted my role and kind of just tried to do the role I could best. But right now, I think I'm trying to, set a good standard for the keepers behind me and push them to the level that they can hopefully have the potential to play at, be the starting goalkeeper.
Is there a goalkeeper's philosophy that you have here at Akron?
Not necessarily. I think it would just be once you take that step into college. Like, for me personally, playing at the college level out of Philadelphia Union, I kind of had an ego. I was like, okay, college, but college is a completely different game than I thought it was going to be. It's super intense, especially at the top colleges, top universities, like at Akron. When I came in, everybody was super technical, not super technical, but technical, gritty, hardworking. And so it was kind of just a news flash, and something for me, I needed that redshirt year so I could develop. But I think as far as philosophy, just having players understand that they need to adapt to be able to, play at the certain level that they need to play at.
With the team having about a third of the roster from international, you got guys from France, Germany, Canada. I'm sure I'm missing a few other countries in there, but what's the communication like? Is there a English barrier difference? How have you guys been able to kind of adapt to being able to bring everybody together and communicate onto the field?
Yeah, I don't think there's not any English or language barriers. Like Jonas, our captain, maybe at first he was a little quiet, because I remember coming into preseason, a while ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, when Jonas came in. He didn't talk a whole lot, and he was kind of scary to me. Like he was a little intimidating. But no, I think most of the international guys being older, they're more comfortable with kind of leading the team and communicating and trying to, engage in the culture and bring it out. But yeah, all of them have been really solid in connecting.
Now I want to dive into what I hope, and I think you hope as well, a memorable moment here at Akron. It could come tomorrow against Creighton. It could happen next couple of weeks with the Big East Conference Championships. But kind of reflect on your time so far and give us like one of your more memorable moments, either whether playing or even off the pitch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a hard one. A lot of memories. I would have to say it wasn't at Akron. It was in Florida. It was our first game against FIU opening the season, and I think that might have been my first game playing in the fall away at FIU, which is like pretty scary. But no, it was really scary. It was hot, humid. Playing at FIU, they had a pretty good crowd, and FIU I think they had a pretty solid ending for their season. But it was just back and forth. The end result was 5-3.
Yeah.
And so I led in a couple, but then, it was just a roller coaster of emotions. I think it was Shooky that scored, a couple other guys that scored. So it was just, everybody was just buzzing, especially at an away game like that. It was, I'm probably never going to forget it.
Yeah, best flight home was with a W for sure. What is some advice that you would give young athletes from your hometown, Lincoln, Nebraska, and who might aspire to play college soccer?
I would just say stay the course. If you keep on going, there's going to be opportunities that arise for you, and just keep on going.
On going. All right. And then last question before we get into the kind of the I think the whole segment's been fun, but a little more fun questions, I guess. But maybe take soccer out, but maybe keep soccer in. Future aspirations for Mitch Budler, whether it be in the business analytics world or the soccer world.
Okay. Well, I want to play professionally soccer, of course. But I would say outside of soccer, realistically, I'd want to do something, hopefully with my degree, become like a data analyst for whatever company. Kind of what my brother does, my oldest brother. He kind of works like wherever he wants at home, or he could go to like vacation, just needs to have Wi-Fi. But yeah, I think dream job just being able to work anywhere.
Okay. And then there's a lot of soccer players, hockey players, athletes just in general who have some superstitions or pregame rituals. Do you have any? And if so, what are they? Do you have to put a sock on, like left over right, or double sock, 1 foot? Or
yeah, sometimes I try to do the left side first and then the right. So finish weak or start weak and then finish like strong foot.
Okay.
But it's not something I think about. So if I do the right, then it's like, oh, okay, oh well. But I do, when I get on the field before the game starts, I do a little prayer just to make sure everybody's, safe and prepared.
It's very kind of you. Absolutely. So then the other question we've been asking all of our guests on ZIPS Nation Insider, and this is Mitch Budler, junior goalkeeper from Lincoln, Nebraska, is hometown pizza. If I'm going to Lincoln, Nebraska, where are you taking me for pizza? I'm a big guy, and I'm actually Italian, which people don't know that too much. So where am I going? Where are you taking me for pizza in Lincoln, Nebraska?
So when I was younger, there was a spot that was really good. I don't know if since then they've been all right. I haven't gone a whole lot, but I think it's just a Nebraska thing, located. but it's called Valentino's Pizza.
Okay, it's got the O in it,
Yeah.
so that helps, right? From
Yeah.
the Italian look, for
Right.
sure. Okay, all right, and then the last part of our interview here today is our rapid fire segment.
Okay.
And it's powered by 330 To Go, Northeast Ohio's hottest and fastest growing news and entertainment media network. And I got to pull out my phone for these rapid fire questions, but maybe my phone is somewhere else today. But maybe I'll make these off my head.
Okay.
First one: are you Team Messi or Team Ronaldo?
Ronaldo.
Okay, that's a surprising answer on this first one. All right, you talked a little bit about siblings and family. Favorite vacation spot?
Ooh. Wyoming.
Wyoming. Okay. Are you a burritos or tacos guy?
Burritos.
Burritos.
Yeah.
Okay, what's on the burrito?
Kind of everything. Steak, chicken, double meat, salsa, beans, anything.
All right, perfect. On Taco Tuesday, we're doing this interview, so even better. Who's the funniest teammate? Who's the funniest teammate?
Oh, man. Oh, man. That's a hard one. I'm going to have to go Dyson.
Dyson. Okay, all right. Fellow RSL kind of guy, too, huh? All right, and then last question, favorite spot on campus?
Favorite spot? Cub Cadet, First Energy Stadium.
All right, perfect. Well, Mitch, appreciate the time you had to be here with the Zips Nation Insider. I'm Chad Welker, and we hope to see you at our next podcast. Of course, as always, go Zips.